So Husky Raid, you either love it or you absolutely hate it, and you'd rather play Lasso on outskirts with 1,000 Jackal snipers before ever touching that game. Maybe it's the chaotic random weapons that you start off with. Maybe it's the mad rush to the flag and then dying inches before being able to turn it in. Or maybe it's the extremely frustrating spawn kills that are integral to the gameplay of that game type. It's been in all the Halos since Halo 3, and it has created some insane moments. And now it's in a Halo Flashpoint. But first, there's a giveaway. Leave a comment on what map I should recreate next, and I'll give away this Halo Flashpoint terrain set. I'll draw that winner in the next video, so make sure you hit that bell so you know when the next video is coming. But now let's get to the most important part about creating a map, and that's the prototyping phase. So the first thing I needed to figure out is, do I want to create my own unique original Husky Raid map, or do I want to take one that already exists and remake it? And I chose to remake it. So I looked at all of my favorite Husky Raid maps, including this one here called Dominion. Dominion is really nice because it will be a downward tunnel blocking off line of sight from the other team, and you will have to force yourself to go down in that tunnel to reach the other side. But unfortunately, this would prove too difficult to recreate with that giant obstruction in the center there. It would just get in the way too much. Then I took a look at the map Merchant Square. Merchant Square is a very simple map where you have this lower lane where you can get some shots in, you can flank, protect the flag carrier, but then you also have this higher elevated area that you can get up to. In Halo Flashpoint, elevation is key with adding dice rolls, but unfortunately this proved a little bit too simple of a design for me, so I chose a different map. Which brings us to the map Ronan. Ronan is a beautiful map that's inspired by ancient Chinese architecture. It does a great job creating these awesome shooting lanes and epic battles in the center, and also provides you some cover in these hidden flanking hallways that lead up to a bridge for really good advantage points to help you protect the flag. Not only that, but it is also one of the most beautiful maps with these awesome cherry blossom trees, and provides really good gameplay to take advantage of some of the equipment that you can use in Halo Flashpoint to score that flag. Now you can absolutely just fold your Spartan or Recon Edition playmat in half and play Husky Raid with just the given terrain that you get in the box. I use these crates and stairs from a previous build. Don't know why I put the stairs on both sides, because they're only supposed to go on one. But the stairs are not necessary. And instead of using enclosed hallways, I'm just prototyping with these barriers, which I ended up using in the end, a different form of them, but they worked nicely for this Recon and Spartan set. Then you will just need to add the bridge and some scatter terrain from your set, and you're all good. Easy way to just right out of the box play Husky Raid. But we are going to take it a step further and create this map from scratch in that ancient Chinese theme, so it looks beautiful and it plays great. Building the foundation of this map was very simple. I'll leave everything that I use in the description below if you want to purchase it. But I got my hot wire cutter out, and I cut 1-inch foam into a 24 by 12-inch play space. Then I cut out 75mm or approximately 3-inch rectangles from the foam. This is going to be glued on top of each other to create the main foundation and the structures. You don't have to, but here I'm using 1.5-inch foam instead of 1 inch, just so I can cut less with it. I just need to cut out 2 and then glue them on top of each other for easy, simple building. If you don't have a foam wire cutter at home, I will leave in the description some 3x3-inch cubes that you can purchase on Amazon. After that, I put little marks around the whole perimeter of the foam to show each 75mm cube, and made it for easy placement on these larger cubes here. Now I put these facing up because that line is going to be covered by wood eventually. Now this is something that I did not show you in the prototyping phase, but I decided to put these platforms in the back of the maps to get some elevation for if you spawn with a really nice random ranged weapon, you're able to pick off targets coming for that flag. It was really cool. I was able to find these textured tiles that I was able to size perfectly and 3D print out that were more brick textured. And this is very accurate to what the actual game has in the center of the map, which is where these bricks are going. I kind of picked an interesting design. You can see me laying them out here. Definitely had to get the center, but I also wanted some sand to be visible, so I didn't want to cover everything in this brick. So I put them on the edges like this to create this S shape, which will hopefully bring a little bit more life into the center of the map. Instead of ramps, we are going to be using stairs. It makes it easier to put the base of the model in between each step, so it'll hold it in place. Ramps don't really do well with models because they'll slide off and you'll have to magnetize them. Steps are what we're going to go for here. I cut off all the bottoms of them to make them a little bit smaller, and then I cut them in half to give us enough space so that base will fit in between. We'll use these later. And lastly, before we start painting, I textured it as much as I can. I would recommend using tinfoil. I didn't have any, so I made my own crazy contraption to add texture. And then I nicked some stone off of these platforms to make it much more damaged looking, which I highly recommend. As far as painting goes, I covered the whole thing in black craft paint. This will help enrich the colors, going forward, and, make sure there's no pink spaces left. Now, while that was drying, I took my flags that I got with my Spartan edition and I magnetized them, snipped the bottoms off, and magnetized them to the little equipment holders here. I plan to magnetize them to the bases of my models as well, as you see here. That way, once they're all painted up, I can just play, magnetize them whenever they're carrying the flag, and proceed with playing. Then I got some Elmer's glue or Mod Podge and kind of scattered it about the board. We're going to be putting sand on the board, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over. I have this Vallejo textured earth that I'm going to use to try to cover up some of the lines in between the tiles and the board. I'm not going to get every space, but this will hopefully try to blend the lines in between. And this is how it's looking. I promise it's going to look much better. We're going to add some texture spray paint. This was a mistake. Don't do this. I thought there'd be enough coverage of paint on there to not cause it to corrode, but it definitely corroded a lot of it, so I stopped. You can see there it's all over my hands, but actually this was a blessing in disguise. It made the blocks and the foundation really textured, which ended up looking really nice in the end. Not what I was seeking, but it's what we got. Then I sprayed it with a mix of Mod Podge and water together, which is what I should have done before, and primed it in Wraithbone Citadel Primer to equalize everything. Got out my cheap airbrush and sprayed a more tan brown just to bring out some details and contrast in the ground that we're going to be doing. Then I did something crazy, put some water on there, and then mixed it with some Skeleton Horde contrast paint. And I got my brush out and I mixed it all around there, and it got in all those little nooks and crevices that the spray paint created, and ended up looking really good. I got really lucky with how many craters and how war-torn it actually ended up looking in the end. So I kind of wanted to add a different approach to the color scheme of this map. I didn't want it to look just like the original map, which is very orange and wood looking. I wanted to give it more of a white stone texture with the wood on it, so it gives it that good contrast. It will come together in the end, as you'll see. It looks really sloppy right now, but as soon as it dries, it lightens up a lot, and it gives it kind of a very good shade with this, half and half, just black craft paint and water. And with this map in particular, I was going for more of a diorama look, so I want to cover all of the edges in black. It'll give the impression that it's cut out from a piece of the universe, and it'll blend into the background. Next, we're going to create these beautiful wood textures that are going on all of the platforms and the stairs of the foundation of the map, including the bridge that we'll make a little bit later. For this, I just used a bunch of stirring sticks. They're very cheap and they're the perfect thickness and wideness, I guess you can say, that is going to give the illusion that they're wooden planks that are conveniently laid across all these platforms. I measured them against one of the 75mm tiles that I printed out, and I cut just a bunch of these out. This will ensure that once I cut them in their like random order, that they're always going to be that 75mm 3-inch mark as you see here. So no matter where I cut it, and no matter how many times I cut it, it's always going to be 75mm. Then I just slapped wood glue all over the tops of these wood blocks and then just manually placed all of these tiny little wood planks on there. This took the longest amount of time, but man, it was so worth it, and it was kind of therapeutic when it, in the end. So I definitely didn't regret it because it turned out beautifully. It was so worth it to do it this way and cut them out by 3-inch sections, because then I didn't have to like grind or draw a 3-inch line so you know where the grid is at. They're just fitting there perfectly. Before making the stairs, I decided to dry brush just a really bright white over all of the stone to bring out that white stone in there and hide a little bit of that black and only have it come out in the recesses. Turned out well. It's going to look exactly like how I imagined it. Then I took a wraith bone. This was a little bit too light. I should have gone with a darker sand color, but to bring out some of those edges on the sand that I was going for, I do end up darkening this a little bit later, but this is kind of what I had for right now. Then one of my favorite parts, I took snakebite leather contrast paint, put it all over that wood to give it this really nice orangey brown look. Then it's time to create the stairs, so I got those foam blocks that I cut out earlier, and we're basically just going to hot glue these little pieces of chipboard on them for structure, and it'll give us a place to put our wood boards that we're fitting basically 2 of these stirring sticks because they fit perfectly onto it. And this is how it looks. I gave it the exact same treatment as before with priming and painting and staining that wood. And this is the layout we have so far. I want to be as transparent as possible in case you want to create it yourself. And I don't want to just wait to the end to show you the finished product, but it's looking like a map to be proud of, but we're not even finished yet. The bridge is a very iconic structure in this map. It had to be in there, so we're going to start on this next. It'll allow some good vantage points for the players to get some extra dice on their shots. I prototyped using some pieces that you can get on Mantic's website through their Terrain Crate terrain. You can see how the grid is going to be laid out on the bridge here, where you have these 2 small corners that can only hold 1 model, while you have these skinnier, longer bridge pieces that can hold up to 2 models. I started by cutting out what I'm going to call a 1.5 by 1/2 cube rectangles, 2 of them, and we are basically going to put these together. We're going to glue them together, and I'm going to put this Vallejo snow effect. I couldn't find my mud effect to put on it, but these, we're going to make gardens on this bridge, and this is going to simulate the dirt, so I'm going to put that just in the small, basically 1.5 inch cube by 1.5 inch cube there. You can see a really nice top down shot. I gave it the whole treatment, just like everything else on the table with the wood, and then painted that dirt in there. But you can see where the divisions are here between the cubes.
When you first saw Halo, were you blinded by its majesty?
Blinded?
Paralyzed? Dumbstruck?
No.
Then I took a look at some of the detail around the map and saw these kind of a wood cross structures pretty much everywhere, and I wanted to recreate them on the blocks. That way the blocks didn't look like just some random block laid down there. And these stirring sticks really came in clutch. Pretty much used them across the board, but I used these also for these little wood support cross structures, just glued them right in. And because this map is so symmetrical, I had to add some differences so you can tell your location in the map, and this little broken section on the other side helped with that. Now we're getting to the additions that are making it really come together and pop. I 3D printed these Chinese fences and painted them red and black. I scattered them pretty much around the whole map on the edges. I left some empty spaces on the edges for something you'll see very soon. And that something are these beautiful torii gates that are actually going to be spawn locations, at least one of the spawn locations, but they look beautiful and really bring the map together here. And they have the Yoroi armor core in Halo Infinite, so just saying, Mantic, if you want to make a Yoroi armor model, that'd be awesome. And we're getting close to the finish line here, but in the theme of making differences in the map so you can recognize where you're at, we're going to put these gongs in. Bet you didn't know there was a silver one in there. And the gongs are just made of the same torii gate tied to a 3D printed gong. This one is gold, the other one will be silver, so you can tell the difference on each side. And this silver one is the bell notification gong. So if I end up ringing it, ding, then you have to hit that YouTube bell notification so you can see the rest of my videos. Now, I did not want to draw grid lines on this map. Like I said, I want it to be more diorama feeling. So I put these little shrub pieces where the lines in the grid would be, so you know where to place your models. Then we put some of these flowery shrubs on the gardens on the bridge, right next to the fences. And then I got some static grass, and we just put and sprinkled that all over where the dirt is. Once that Mod Podge dries, it's going to look really nice with that grass on there. I did add some pillars below the bridge to add some cover for any models that are going through the center and not on top of the platforms. I cut out these small rectangles from the phone to make these planters that I scattered around the whole map. In Halo Flashpoint, it is vital not to get clear shotted because you add 2 dice, and these are going to help prevent that. And last but not least, the center point, the staple of this map, in my opinion, these beautiful cherry blossom trees. I was able to snag some, and I'll leave that in the description below. But I was able to 3D print some pots for them and place them in their correct spot. Then I put the flags in their corresponding spots. And okay, I swear these are the last things I added. Instead of making tunnels that are going to block my camera's view angle, I printed out these awesome statues that'll block line of sight. And that's it. It's finished. And there you have it, a beautiful reimagining of the map Ronan. It is small, it is tight, it is half the size of a normal Halo Flashpoint map, making it a really intense map to play on. I recommend going all out, one team of 4 models versus another team of 4 models, or if you want to keep it tight and quick, just a 2v2. Shuffle those power weapon cards and items and draw them randomly when you spawn, and have an insane time. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy. Get prepared to see some battle reports on this map. It's going to be really exciting. And don't forget to leave a comment on what map I should remake next. These do take a little bit of time, but I am enjoying myself immensely. And it's time to get a couple games on this map. I'll see you guys later.